Old Yeller is back at it. President Biden dropping $30 million on ads, hoping to convince America that his brain is aging like a fine wine.
Look, I'm not a young guy. That's no secret. But here's the deal. I understand how to get things done for the American people.
Took 7 weeks to tape that. The big guy's big ad buy comes one day before Robert Hur will testify about his report claiming that Joe is an elderly man with a poor memory. Biden will be taking his angry man shtick on tour and hit 3 swing states this week. Over the weekend, he gave us a preview of what senile moments you can expect.
In Pennsylvania, I have a message for you. Send me to Congress that I can support this right, and I promise you, if we take back Congress, we will restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land.
Biden could show America his razor-sharp mind by debating Donald Trump, but so far, he refuses to commit.
Mr. President, will you commit to a debate with former President Trump?
It depends on his behavior.
Depends on his behavior. It's a pretty wide hole there, Jessica. He could just make up his mind. If you were on his staff, would you tell him to debate?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just think you don't want to raise more questions.
Yeah.
Right? People have enough questions about both candidates, and it's only right. That's part of the process. That's how we've done it. There are amazing opportunities, and also I think you would do really well. I understand whatever senior moments aside. The guy has a lot of experience. He has a lot of deep understanding of topics, and Trump has a pretty surface level way of speaking. That's the most polite way that I can put that. I will say, though, regretting the use of the illegal term aside, the last week has been really good for Joe Biden. So last Monday, we're talking about the New York Times Siena poll, right, that he's losing Black support, Latino support, Gen Z support. Then he has a very strong Super Tuesday. He has a State of the Union that Republicans even had to admit was a completely different Joe Biden to them. Supporters feeling good about it. They raised $10 million in 24 hours after that, which has never happened before. Positive polls over the weekend. Your favorite Real Clear Politics average, now back under 2-point advantage for Donald Trump.
1-7.
Actually, I thought it was 1-9, so thank you for the gift. 1-7.
We know the gift
And
is
then,
that's an electoral college blowout by Donald Trump.
It's not.
1-7.
All right.
1-7.
Okay.
Nationally.
Not happen.
I'm
Okay.
the pollster here, Karloff.
Oh, I nearly forgot about that. And today was the launch of the Students for Biden organization, 15 youth groups. Well, you say, oh, it makes a huge difference. Gen Z voters have been delivering huge wins for the Democrats. And I guess Trump had a good moment about Laken Riley's murder and with his family. But Donald Trump spent the weekend, he posted a $91 million bond for the E. Jean Carroll case. Then he went on TV and defamed her again. And he's hanging out with Viktor Orban. So I would rather be Joe Biden at this moment. I think it has been a very good week.
Well, get that life alert on then.
Oh, I already have it on when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And a geriatric pregnancy, they make you wear it.
Yes. So, Jesse, it is big news, Biden running for Congress. Did you see that coming? That is, I think the Democrats would be relieved if he truly decided to shift to the House.
Yes, Hakeem Jeffries now very worried about his job. I don't know if that was even in the teleprompter. I mean, he looked like he was reading that off the teleprompter. I don't know what's going on there. I know that no one's showing up. We got behind-the-scenes photos of these campaign events. It looked like a pandemic event. Remember when they had the circles and everybody stood socially distanced? Same amount of people in the socially distanced circles 3 years ago than there are today. No one wants to see the guy. Imagine that on a Saturday. You go to a battleground state, President of the United States, you have weeks of advance work. Hey, the president's here. And no one comes. There's more press than there are people. Now, why is that? Is he purposely keeping events tiny because he's afraid of people yelling at him because they don't like his policies? That's happened. That's what they're saying they're doing. Or just does no one really care to hear what he has to say because he doesn't make a lot of sense? $30 million, though, is a lot of money to drop on ad buys, and that's what he's going to do. He's just going to nuke the airwaves with negative ads, and he's going to run on hoaxes like he did the last time with the fine people, this time's dictator on day one. But I think Trump's going to be able to handle that. And if there is a debate... Are you
lending him money?
I'm not allowed to, Jessica. Are you donating to Democrats? How dare you?
No.
There's a rule book about that. I'll send it to you. I'll sign it. I think he will debate because he has to, and you're right. I hate to say it again. You're right. It's going to raise more questions, but Trump really does not need to do what he did during that first debate last time, where he was just really, really too aggressive with the crosstalk. Let Biden breathe. And that's all you need to do. Stay calm and be specific about the failure.
Judge, isn't this kind of more evidence it's a state of the human? That's good. State of the Union was more of an aberration, like when they jack up a fighter pilot, with drugs. I mean, now he's back to old Joe.
Yeah, he's back to old Joe. What is that movie? Is it El Cid, where they propped him up on the horse so that the enemy and the war would think, oh, my gosh, she's back? But I'm not saying anything like that about Joe.
I'm glad we moved past
Here's the thing, though. I think it's really kind of, I don't know what the word would be. It's ironic that he says it depends upon how Trump behaves as to whether or not he'll debate him. No, this is all going to depend upon how you behave and how your staff assesses whether or not you're, in condition to debate Donald Trump. And if you recall, remember they scrapped Oval Office interviews because he didn't have a teleprompter, or they didn't have one in the Oval Office because he didn't know how to handle that. And they're gaslighting us. I mean, the numbers are pretty clear that the American people already have their thoughts. Stop talking to us about Bidenomics, which apparently he did because he realized it wasn't working. Stop saying crime is not an issue and, the border's not an issue. And, I think the American people get it because Joe Biden from the get-go has been saying, watch me. Well, we've been watching him. We've been watching him stumble, mumble, fall. And the next day, he sounds like a completely different guy. I mean, he's not articulate. He's running for Congress. He's not running for president. It's a sad commentary. The guy is good some days and real bad most.
Dana, shall I ask you about the Hur testimony? I didn't know it was tomorrow. Are we going to have a show?
Well, yes, I believe so, because it starts at 10 a.m. on America's Newsroom.
Oh, okay. Damn. All right. Well, what are your thoughts? What do you expect? What do you predict?
Well, remember that Robert Hur is the special counsel who put out the report that said Biden had memory problems. And then the White House immediately said, this man, Robert Hur, is a terrible person. I'm wondering how many Republicans will show up with I'm with her T-shirts. Because if you remember, that was the ones that they wanted for somebody else who was running. I'm interested to see how this will go. Sometimes Republicans have a way of getting in their own way.
Yeah.
And being too obnoxious. Just let the testimony speak for itself, sort of like with Biden. Don't have to be over dramatic. Don't have to read your statement forever and be obnoxious. Just get the words out there, because Robert Hur wrote it in his report to say, did you say this? Is this what you believe? Yes. Okay, fine. Let it go.
There you go.
And I have a quick question. Weren't we supposed to get those transcripts of Hur and Biden? Remember?
I think they were trying to get them. I don't know.
Nobody got them.
Maybe we shall find out.
Maybe they're in Joe's
Tune in at
garage.
10 a.m. America's Newsroom. Don't miss it.
Don't miss it. Is Bill back yet?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Tomorrow.
I was worried about him.
Were you?
I thought he was really cold. Coming up, so much for the Democrats' plan to secure the subways with soldiers. A woman loses both her feet in a shoving.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.